This episode of the Coarse podcast has been brought to you by Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, family-owned and operated screen printing and embroidery business located in a historic storefront on Old Berwick Road in the heart of Espy. They've been doing screen printing for over 20 years. They have high-quality product at a low price. Be sure to check them out. Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, 570-784-1212. Now, on to the show.
Yo, it's Roscoe Hall, culinary director with Post Office Prize in Birmingham, Alabama. You listen to Sean Rossler, and let's crush it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode number 176 of the Coarse Grind podcast. I'm really getting to the point where my high school math is coming in handy to count this. Hi, with you as always, host creator Sean Rossler. How the hell is everyone doing tonight? You know, there's an old saying, maybe it's just my saying, that sometimes once is not enough. Whether we're going to be talking about tequila shots, we'll save stories that I can remember for another time there. Well, slices of pizza, I'll publicly admit maybe sometime how many I can eat in one sitting, or really any other enjoyable experience. Sometimes you gotta go back. And on the heels of our incredible 4-pack Eliminators reunion here on the Coarse Grind, I'm circling back to go one-on-one with the 3 rock stars I didn't get a chance to yet. Sorry, Roscoe. We'll take another lap another time. But which one will it be, you're wondering? I'm sure. Enough babbling. Let's get to the intro. Tonight's guest's style of cooking is California-inspired, where she was born and raised, and now Texas-fueled. Her roots are Sicilian, but she's had the pleasure of studying many different types of cuisines under some of the best chefs in the country. Our guest started in New York City and Italy for culinary school, having first landed in San Fran and cooked around the city for 6 years, then LA for 2, Austin for 1, and now she's rocking it out in Houston. She's inspired by Moroccan and Mediterranean flavors, but in the end, it all goes back to Italy, and that's a good thing for those of us in the foccaccia market. As her namesakes, Focaccia is about to get a reboot. Cannot wait. Always fun revisiting, and even more fun digging a little deeper, especially with such a, dare I say, fierce persona as she. So let's get down to it. See what I did there? That's a dad thing. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, the Sasha behind Sasha's Focaccia and Top Chef Chopped, Chef Testant Extraordinaire, Chef Sasha Grumman. What is going on, ma'am?
Wow, that was quite an intro. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be back.
Yeah, this is what I do. And you're literally, I think you're the first one ever to go back-to-back episodes. So congratulations.
Oh, wow.
That's a first 7 years in, 7.5 years in. And we pulled the first off there, ladies and gents. Yeah,
when it works, it works.
I know, right? And you know, the intro, you know, everybody comes out, like, wow, man, that intro. I'm like, listen, I at least want to give you something to hold on to in the beginning, because it's all going to go to shit from here. So just perfect. Yeah, buckle in. You know, it's nothing but a downfall from here on out. So folks new to the program, folks with terrible short-term memories like yours truly, starters, mains, after starters, we're going to talk about where the guest in question is coming from, what brought them to where they're at. Mains, we're going to talk about where they're at, what drives them, what makes them tick. And finally, after is a little bit more irreverent, a little bit more off the cuff. And we're going to ask the same questions of Sasha and see if her answers vary by one simple episode. Ooh, it's going to be a test. So without further ado, fierce chef Sasha Grumman, tell us again and in more detail, because we don't have a queue of 3 people waiting behind you to answer as well. Talk to us about where and what you grew up eating. I know it goes back to California, but beyond that, fill them in.
Yeah. So grew up in Southern California, and, you know, my family was always cooking at home, so it was always all the ladies in the kitchen, and we were always cooking Italian food. I have Sicilian roots, so, you know, those roots were strong, and it was every holiday and every special occasion was circled around the kitchen table, in the kitchen, in the island, and, you know, we were always cooking, making food. I started watching cooking shows at a really, really young age. I would say probably around like 4 or 5.
I love
I got super invested, and I really Like, it was my nighttime routine was to watch Emerald on TV. Like, that was my dream, and that was my goal every single day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know chronologically, because I can look at you and then I look at my face and I go, shit, there's some years apart, because the Food Network was like my newer age, but I definitely feel you on that. Beyond Emerald, what was it that glued you to it?
I think it was almost the performative aspect of it. Like, I enjoyed being entertained.
Yeah.
And I also just always loved food. Like, my family from day one will be like, she was always adventurous. She always ate everything. She was never saying no to any food. Like, there was nothing you could put in front of me that I'd say no to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think it's always just been in me to love food. And then, quite honestly, like, I love the entertainment quality of the Food Network, of, all of the cooking shows.
Yeah. I mean, it is a theater, and that's, honestly, not to be self-indulgent for a moment, not like I don't do that here. But like, this is 7.5 years of a talk show telling your stories. And it's like, it would have long died ago, it would have died long ago, rather. Sorry, Jesus Christ. If there weren't an entertainment factor to it. And I've told this story innumerable times, again, we've definitely got some years apart here. But so for me, it was Saturday mornings and it was public television. It was the Galloping Gourmet. It was Julia Child. It was Jeff Smith, the Frugal Gourmet. It was great chefs of the Fill in the Region there. Justin Wilson, the Cajun dude. Like, that's where I got my teeth sharp. And then to see Food Network take off, and this would have been early high school for me, I think. It was weird. I actually had David Rosengarten on, who was like one of the first like OGs of it with taste. And I remember that white subway tile, setting and everything, and it looked so elegant. A little bit of trivia for you, Sasha. Maybe you didn't know. The original Food Network studios were 2 apartments in Manhattan, just next to each other.
Wow.
That was it, man. There were 2 rooms. And then to think of where it got.
That happens from an apartment.
I know, right? And then
that's
to think,
where so many things start.
Dude, vault that forward to you, to Sasha Grumman, one of the coolest chefs I've ever had the opportunity to talk to, watching Emerald as like a 4 or 5-year-old for a bedtime treat. Like, that's nutty. That's crazy. And so the entertainment's there, and obviously you've got beyond an engaging persona. It's awesome. I know back on 175, a whole 1 episode ago, we gave you a little shit for the Italy travel, but it was all in good fun. And you answered one of my questions already about, what kind of an eater you were. I'll be honest, if I had to put bank down and bet what way you went to, I knew you were going to be that. Why do you think you leaned into it as much as you did? Was it that you were plugged into like food entertainment early on? Was it just because cooking was a thing for your family? Why so adventurous?
I think there's something to be said about being the last child, being the baby of the family.
Oh, see, I didn't get this part of the story. How many of the Grumman?
There's 4 of us.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
And so I think pretty much my entire life, I've had the fortune of being able to do whatever I wanted. And I'm not saying my siblings didn't get that, but I'm saying, by the time it gets to the 4th child, obviously I don't have 4 children, but I can imagine you're like, okay, we got this. This thing's on lock. We're going to make sure they don't do these kinds of things. But otherwise, set them free because we've done this for so long.
We've shown they're unbreakable. So let them go.
Even though my sisters dropped me on my head a few times when I was a baby, it's fine.
Oh, nice.
But I think it got to a point where I was just always exposed to so much more than maybe what a baby would be exposed to, in the sense of if we're going to do grown-up things, you're coming with us. And so I was always exposed to more and bigger flavors, and we traveled a little bit, so I was able to, get ahead of the game that way. And I think, it's a big reason why my personality now is Okay, sure, let's do it. Like, I'm always up for anything, and I'm always up for any food or travel or any little exciting thing because that's just how I was raised.
Yeah. No, and I get it. You know, switch seats, and to pull back the curtain that I always refer to, folks at home listening. You know, I was texting Sasha, you know, with like 2 minutes to 10. I'm like, yo, hang on a minute. I need like 5 minutes. I got to put the middle kid to bed, because the middle kid got to stay up late tonight and was watching Titanic with moms up there, and you know, he's all into it, and I'm like, I got to go up and be the heavy. Mom started the process of being the heavy, but like, you know, again, if it was our first one caught exponentially more shit. And now, you know, the second one, we're a little easier. We know how this works out. The third one, it's literally like, okay, did it explode? Are you bleeding? Cool. I'll talk later. Talk later. Catch you at the end of the day. We'll catch up later.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, you know, being adventurous like that and being in a culinary household obviously is like the master formula for somebody like you, somebody who, I mean, truly, and this is no bullshit. This is episode 2. I had you on the hook for 1. I don't have to blow smoke up your ass here. But what I will say is this, like, honestly, persona wise and engaging wise, like, it's so cool and fun to watch, and it comes out. So I totally get that food entertainment thing and the adventure thing. So looking back at foods that like you enjoyed growing up and maybe like opened your eyes more, did any of those like stick out to you as like pivotal culinary like taste palette moments where you went, whoa, that's amazing? Or you look back on it and you go, God, I missed that, and I can't, despite my years of expertise, recreate it.
Yeah. A few things pop up for sure.
Yeah.
It's such a silly thing to go to, but my mind went right there, so I'm going to share it. We were on vacation, and we were in the British Virgin Islands, and we were at this little restaurant, and they had all these, like, daiquiris, and of course, like, I was having a virgin daiquiri because I was about, like, 10.
Right.
But I remember having, like, this passion fruit daiquiri and being like, what is this flavor? This is insane. I've never had this before. I'm obsessed with it.
Nice.
So that was a first. That just came to me. And then I was in New York, and we were at Babbo having dinner.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it was like, I really, really wanted to go because obviously I'd watched his cooking show and, you know, the orange clogs, the whole thing. And it was one of those like very dream-like bucket list experiences for me as a young kid because I had watched him so many times. And so I begged them to go, and they decided to go, and we went as a family, and I had beef cheek ravioli.
Oh.
And it was like, it was another like mind-blowing experience. I mean, gnocchi at Union Square Cafe in New York was another like pillowy, ridiculous dream. And yeah, a lot of them are like pasta focused, of course. And you know, I looked at that gnocchi and I said, one day I will learn how to make this. And I feel like I finally have a recipe that kind of stands up to it.
Nice.
And then I would say the one thing that like I just like cannot get right for the life of me. So we have this thing in my family called biscotti. And it's not a thing, like if you look up that word, it's not real. But it's been passed down for generations. And it's essentially pizza dough rolled up with diced onions, olives, and Parmesan cheese. Okay,
that sounds amazing. What? And
my mom makes them the best. And they're basically like savory cinnamon rolls that like are pillows of delicious dough in the middle. It's like, it's heaven.
Oh my God. And I mean, you had me at olives. I mean, anytime olives are getting thrown in the mix, like I'm there for it. I'm there. Like dirty martini is like my idea of a meal. And I know it's not a meal. Hi Mom, if you're listening, sorry. But Daddy always
meal for me too.
Yeah, exactly. Man, you get 3 olives on that stick and they're reasonable size. Like,
it's a snack.
Yeah, it's good. You're fine. Yeah. There's healthy fats in it too. Olive oil, it's healthy. I read it once on Google.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I mean, passion fruit daiquiri, beef cheek ravioli, the the savory cinnamon roll, which I love that description. Shit, you could put that on a menu. I'd be like, yo, I want the savory cinnamon roll. Like, I don't want to be all Jim Gaffigan, but I like cinnamon roll. Does it taste like one? Okay, I'll take it. Sounds good. Yum, yum.
I think we just created a namesake for an item for future menus.
I want in. This is recorded on audio, so like This is like a verbal contract right here. I got it.
Oh right,
dude.
Right. Verbal contract.
If I had credit for everything we came up with, like this is like my old frat party days where we'd like come up with how to rule the world at 3 a.m. In a corner of a basement. Like someday, I don't know, maybe, but I think that's a solid description. Like if I ever heard one, I would eat the living hell out of that.
Thank you. I appreciate the support.
Yeah, man. So you have this wonderful, like, I always love asking these questions because I feel like it's an oil on canvas coming together. And as this picture's being painted, I know the where, I know the how, adventurous you were. I know some of the tastes. Now we got to get to the who. So talk to me about, growing up, obviously you're surrounded by talent, which is awesome. Like my mom and dad both, I love them to death. My dad was one note. My dad was meat potato. And my mom was try to be healthy and figure it out. And she really did, what she could. And she made a hell of a yellow cake with chocolate frosting. But she would put Brussels sprouts in a pot with water, put a lid on it, and walk away for like an hour. And that's how I came to. So like, I wasn't surrounded by the crowd you were, Sasha. That's what I'm trying to say. I love them dearly, though. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. With all that in mind, who were your like MVPs? I got to imagine it goes beyond one. So I'm not even going to ask you to name just one.
Oh my gosh. My MVPs. I mean, my mom, the amount she cooked for us was unreal.
Yeah.
And it was always just full of love. Like the food, I can't remember a meal that my mom made that I didn't like. She was phenomenal. She would cook for school functions and all sorts of stuff, and people would be like, "What is this? Like, your mom's amazing at this." And I'm like, "I know."
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's
awesome. And to know if I did my homework correctly, you were a pretty pronounced high school athlete too. True story?
Oh God, how far did we go?
We went down the rabbit hole. I went down because and I say that because like my oldest is on a mountain biking team, my middle is on a swim team. And like, we're always taking shit. Yes. And, we get that. Oh, and my oldest is in marching band. So I'm working the booster stand and I'm in there running it like a kitchen. Like people are saying behind and they never said it before, but now when they move behind me, they're like behind sharp. And I'm like, heard, and like they're into it. They love it. But I mean, honestly, it's functional. Like to say behind is so like, yeah, got it. So anywho, all that aside, so Mom's definitely got it on lock. And again, like you show up to those functions and you're giving people shit they've never maybe even conceptualized. I mean, you were in California. Right. We're in central Pennsylvania. Listen, I could bring a leaf of lettuce and they go, what the fuck is that sometimes? Like, cause they're not exactly there. What was it that Mom was bringing that like people were like, whoa?
Oh gosh. I mean, for holidays and stuff during like Christmas, Hanukkah time, we celebrated both. My dad was Jewish and my mom was raised Catholic. Not very religious now at all. But for Jewish holidays and like celebrations, my mom would bring latkes.
Oh, hell yes. Yep.
And she would constantly be chosen as the favorite. And this is like over moms who like grew up making latkes and all sorts of stuff. And she'd be like, this is victorious. This is a win because these people have been making these forever. And I just started making these not too long ago. And she was crushing it. I mean, they were always the first ones gone.
Nice.
So she crushed that. Yeah. Jewish dinner is what we call it. And it's like what dreams are made of. Everything is just dreamy and perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So mom definitely had her game. And like, I married a Pennsylvania Dutch girl who can make chocolate chip cookies like Satan on a motorcycle, like just doing wheelies in your backyard. Like, and honestly, it goes to the point where like We'll go to. I'm totally pulling the curtain back here, kids. We'll go to scout functions because our two oldest are in scouts as well, and they'll have a dessert auction, and people are like putting this Oreo cake and everything, blah 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 blah, and literally Gretel walk in unassuming, 2 paper plates with 2 dozen chocolate chip cookies on each, and that shit will sell for as much as a goddamn constructed cake. It's madness, I tell you.
There's really nothing better than a chocolate chip cookie.
Nah, and when the moms got the lockdown, like you just, you know, and they know, and there is victory. You're absolutely right.
Know.
Hell yeah. So besides mom, was there anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, my dad was a huge MVP. He was a grill master.
Nice.
And yeah, I think that's where I really got like a love and like insight into the live fire world. He wasn't like a smoker and like, you know, had all these contraptions in the backyard, but like grilling outside and like charring vegetables and cooking a steak well, like those are things that I watched him do for years. And those are big parts of my culinary style now. So I definitely like owe a lot of that to my dad. And, you know, also big shout out to my dad as well, because when I graduated college, I graduated from Kenyon in Ohio, and I graduated with a major in sociology and a concentration in law. Wow. And what do you do with that? Nobody knows. So I moved home and I started coaching field hockey. I played a little bit in college, and I started coaching field hockey, and I was just cooking every night. And my dad was literally like, just make a list. I'll go to the market. I'll buy everything, and you cook. And he had the cutest phrase, and he would say, "This is restaurant quality."
Hell yeah, Dad. Nice.
Yeah. And so, you know, it really gave me a lot of confidence, along with my sister, Amanda, that was also at home at the time. And they were like, "Dude, you're really good at this. Like, you could do this." And I was like, "Be a chef? Like, what do you mean? Is that a thing? People do this?" Mm-hmm. And yeah, here we are 10 plus years later, and that's what I'm doing.
That's exactly what you're doing. I mean, you know, to quote the great prophet LL Cool J, doing it well. You see what I did
amazing.
There? That's awkward.
I met him once. He's amazing.
You did not. Where? When? How? What?
I turned around and I was like, I like lost my breath. I was like, I was at, this is so bougie. Okay, I'm just gonna fucking say it.
Do it.
Everybody hate me. Whatever.
At least you're not going to Italy again. It's fine. There it is. There it is.
I know. Whatever. Yeah, just rub it in.
Yeah.
So I was in LA at Soho House, and it was like a playoff game for the Dodgers or something.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why I was there, but I was there, and I turned around. I like heard his fucking voice, and I was like, I know that voice. I turned around, and I was like, oh my fucking God, I know you. And I was like, hi. And he was like, hey girl, what's up? And I was like, ah! He called me girl. He said, hey girl. I'm like sweating thinking about it. Shout out LL Cool J. What's going on?
Please tell me he licked his lips when he did it.
Oh my God, I hope so.
Did he do it? You don't even remember. That's so good.
It was just like, you know when you have those moments and you just like kind of black out and you're like, I don't even know what just happened, but I know he said that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm completely, you know, I not necessarily the swoon factor, but I'll have to send you a picture of the Wall of Fame I have where like I've met people and like, thank God I have the picture. 'Cause I'm like, I would not remember. So like, you know, Mythbusters. I was a huge Mythbusters fan forever and a day. And I got to hang out with Adam Savage for a while. And I don't remember a word I said. I just remember sweating and like being nervous. Like, don't screw this up, asshole.
And like in hindsight, like, what are you going to screw up?
Yeah. I met,
crazy.
I met Henry Rollins, you know, musically. And it's like, I was so nervous, and like, I'm a foot taller than him. Why am I nervous? And I know I said something, and he like signed my book and shook my hand and asked me something, and I think I answered. But like, I mean, LL Cool J though is on a whole other level. I'm not gonna lie. Like, legitimately, that's pretty hardcore. And then to have him call you a girl, that's pretty strong. That is strong.
It was such a strong interaction. I'm sure he remembers.
He could call me girl. I'd not only be fine with it, but I'd probably call him. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
right? Be like, you can say it again if you want.
Yeah. Do you want to say it again? I'm fine with it. We're open. I'm fluid. All right. So, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Say we're focusing on the present day here, kids. We're very open on this show.
Okay.
Yes. So.
Exactly.
Obviously, Dad lets you, do your thing. Dad's calling it restaurant quality, which I adore. Like, I think that inspiration. I don't know that a whole hell of a lot could be more supportive than to have the support of your family in your corner, being like, "Yo, this shit's good," and. Yeah, so that's got to be powerful. And that, that's why I know we've not only talked on air, but off air about my middle and his, brand ambassadorship and cooking videos. And it's like, yeah, dude, do it. And he's like, because he's like, grades are awesome and everything. I'm like, dude, just go. Do what you want. Do what you love. Do what you feel. So you get that inspiration. And I mean, was it just that pushed you to then go and study culinary, or was there like a match strike moment where you went, oh, right, got the sign, thank you, universe, let's go?
Right. And I'm all about signs, and everything happens for a reason and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We're exactly where we should be.
Yeah.
I think, it was honestly between photography school and culinary school. And I had studied abroad in Prague my junior year of college. And I was really, really wanting to travel again. And I started doing research because for me, it's like when I find the right thing, like it shows up right in front of my face. And this culinary school program showed up. It was a program that took me to New York, took me to Italy. And I was like, oh my God, I get to like travel again. I get to go abroad again. Like, this is fucking magic. I'm sorry, I curse.
Oh my God, dude, no, we're not FCC regulated at all.
And so I just found this program, and it was just like that perfect moment of like everything starts to line up. It's like my Italy trip. Like everything lined up perfectly. And the only reason I would say no to these opportunities was fear.
Sure.
And I'm not much of a fear person, and there was no other option other than to say yes.
I love that. Nah, man, listen, folks at home who've never met a field hockey player who's worth anything, dude, you can talk to me all day about the NHL and Sidney Crosby and all them. Dude, every single girl on that field is Sidney fucking Crosby, like with a bad attitude and a hangover. Like, get out of their way. They're not nice.
That is for real.
They're not nice.
God.
They're not nice.
And I was like a little bit of the enforcer too, so it was
whoa, really? I couldn't imagine that.
Oh my God.
Totally
surprise,
can imagine that.
Everybody.
Exactly. I'm imagining you're the first one to throw the stick down and put the fisticuffs up and be like, all right, let's go. Right.
I mean, like, more so with my skills, I would prove that.
Oh, okay. So you weren't a scrapper.
I wasn't. Well, we weren't really allowed to fight, my dear.
Come on.
But there were a few moments where we were getting our ass kicked in an NCAA tournament, and we had, like, made it to the NCAA tournament. Like, we're D3, like, hadn't been there in decades.
Right.
And so we win our first game, and then we go to New York, like, SUNY something, Cortland, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And this girl is... I'm not kidding. She's basically running circles around me and just like laughing as she fucking does it. And I was like, I'll never forget her for the rest of my life. Like, I could see her tomorrow, like 15 years later, and be like, yo, that was you. And yeah, that was a moment where I was like, I think the only thing left to do is just fight at this point.
Right, yeah, drop the sticks. Let's go. That's honestly, NHL wise, the best part, man. When they show those videos where like the players are chirping at each other, they're like, "Yo, next face off." All right, man, next face off, and literally puck drops, and you see 4 gloves hit the ice, and you're like, "Oh shit, it's about to go down." It is, man. So that's again, signs. You want to travel. This culinary program says, "Hey, would you like to travel to literally 2 of the biggest culinary epicenters in the world?" Sure, why not? Why would I not do that? So you travel, you come back, and you land in San Fran. True story?
Mm-hmm.
And you're cooking there for like 6 years.
Yeah. The funny story about getting to San Fran is that after culinary school, we went on a little family vacay because I was flying back through New York, and we all met up, and I was, my family's like, all right, so, like, what's next? Like, they're not letting me, like, sit on this. They're like, where are we going? What are we doing? Start making a list of where you want to go.
Okay.
And I chose San Francisco, and I was like, I just really love it there. Like, I really feel like that's my place. And I applied to one place, and they asked me to come up for an interview and a stage, and I did that over the weekend. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, we'll be in touch, which usually means, like, you didn't get the job.
Exactly.
Yep. And then I got a call from the owner the following day, and they offered me a job. And the funny thing is that they were like, so when can you be here? Because I knew I was living in Southern California. I was like, next week, Wednesday. Yep. It was like Thursday of the previous week, and I did not have an apartment. Like, I did not have anything.
Yeah.
And so I moved up to San Francisco and basically lived on my friend's couch for about 2 months.
Nice.
Just to get that job up there. But yeah, I wound up being up there for about 6 years.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Then LA, if I'm getting my timeline right, I feel like Charlie Day and It's Always Sunny. I've got all the pins and the strings like tweaking out. Okay. So we got San Fran, we got LA. Hey, listen, if anyone ever wants to imagine me planning an episode, it looks like that. So never mind.
Oh my God. I can imagine.
Yeah. So LA, so you go from San Fran to LA. What takes somebody from San Fran to LA?
I missed my family.
Nice. Nice.
As you can imagine, working and beginning in the culinary world, like, there were really no days off that much. No. And you'd get, like, 1 day off, you'd work 6 days, you'd be working 14, 15 hours a day, and, that's what the industry was and still is in some places. Like, there is no time for yourself. It is only the job, and you live for your job, and you work, and that's what you do, and I was kind of burnt out, Yeah. And everybody was getting married, having babies down south, and I was like, I just miss it. So, yeah, I moved home, and I started hosting my own pop-ups.
Nice. And, this is that moment in a lot of episodes where I, virtually tap on the mic and say, hey, culinary students listening, I know there's a lot of you. This is real talk. You're not going to come out. You're not going to land your little 7-figure contract and have a TV show right away. Okay. Listen, if I'm 7.5 years into this fucking podcast and I'm not syndicated yet, you don't get to walk right off and walk into it. It's going to be work. It's going to be a lot of work.
It's going to take a lot of work, but it teaches you skills. It teaches you, life skills. It teaches you how to really, like, focus and work hard for something and a communal goal that you share as a team.
Yep.
But also, like, pay attention to yourself and pay attention to your health and what makes you happy. And nowadays, only working in a kitchen isn't the only thing that keeps you in the culinary world. So
exactly.
Don't forget that.
No, and to that point, what a beautiful transition. You'd swear we've done this before, Sasha. You don't have to be...
Dancing.
We are dancing. We're dancing. We're pirouetting, as it were. A plie, perhaps.
Oh,
beautiful. You have made quite a career on that non-trad track, almost, with the privating and with Sasha's Focaccia. So before we jump into, some mains questions, I want to talk about both ventures. Like, what is it people get? And I'm like feigning ignorance here because I saw the picture of your last dinner that you did, and I'm like, really, like, please move closer, and you can just come over every weekend, and we'll call it a day. It looks amazing. So when somebody dials 1-800 Sasha Grumman and is like, hey, could you come cook shit for us, please? Obviously it doesn't go like that, but what are they getting from you? Like, what is it you bring to the table? Oh, look what I did there.
What do I bring to the table? I think I bring 10 years of experience. I bring a lot of working with phenomenal chefs across the country. I didn't only stick with one style of food. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I have a wide range behind me. And, you know, I also love to entertain. Like, as much as I loved Emerald's cooking shows for the entertainment, I also love to entertain.
Yeah.
And so that gives me this, you know, little feeling of like I'm throwing a dinner party kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But as I do this more and more, I pick up more of the little nuances that make hiring a private chef for your home and your special occasion, you know, just that much more special.
No, I feel that. I feel that.
And
yeah, it's almost like feeling a stage out. You know, you do the show once, you do the show twice, you begin to see what the crowd reacts to most.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think, I just think I bring fun, I bring good food, it's executed well, I have a great team that works with me, and it's just a really pleasant, like, beautiful experience.
Love it. Let's shift gears. The focaccia. Now, obviously we know, you know, the Sicilian background, obviously we know the love of Italian cuisine, and so on. And I'll give you the question my wife asked me, and I think it's a valid one. Okay. I'd love to hear the answer to it. You know, how just focaccia? You know, and like just focaccia seems to be this parking curb or like berm or something. It's like how do we get past? How is it? Here? Yeah.
So for me, we never like made focaccia growing up. Like that wasn't a thing that was in my past. But quite honestly, when I was prepping for Top Chef, you know, the 4 Restaurant Wars, which unfortunately I didn't make it to. I know. But, you know, I was prepping things out and I was like, I really want to be able to like knock out a beautiful bread if and when that time does come. And so I started practicing, and for me, baking is really therapeutic as well. Any sort of dough work is just like a real beautiful mental exercise for me. And so I started doing that, and, you know, after the show, it was another thing where I needed a little more therapy in my life, and not the therapy of like talking to somebody, like more so just like me clearing out my brain by myself. And I just started baking a lot, and, you know, I started listening to a podcast, and it was a Brene Brown podcast, and I'm obsessed with her. She changed my life. But she was talking with some makers, I believe. I wish I knew exactly the episode, but she was talking about how the person was speaking about doing one thing and doing it really well. And for me, that just landed for me. It was like, I have it on my bucket list, and I put it on my bucket list the second I heard that comment, and I was like, put it at the top, and I said, do one thing and do it really, really well.
Love that.
And I felt like something in me was like, this is what we're talking about right now. This focaccia is my one thing, and I'm going to do it really well.
Yeah, I mean, but the pictures, like, two aspects I want to touch on here. The pictures that I've seen of it are, like, honestly pornographic. I almost, like, hid my phone from my kids. I'm like, can't look at that, kids. Not old enough. Too many curves.
A little bit of food porn for you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, total food porn. But, you know, the other thing, and I think we touched on it when the 4 of us sat down, the 5 of us, sorry, total sat down about makership and about COVID and about all this and how it is therapeutic. Like I legitimately made a half gallon of a green mild hot sauce last night because we had leftover jalapenos from a last harvest. And I said to my middle kid, I'm like, hey, you want to make hot sauce with me? And we did. And it's a raw sauce. It's all green. And it's just like, and there's a therapy in it and there's a simplicity in it. Almost like Marie Kondo, we're actually cleaning out like a bunch of shit. My wife and I, and so we're like simplifying there. And it's funny because, you know, parting with those things can be painful, but when you simplify, it gets easier. I almost wonder if that's what all those other things that you were trying to do were. And then you simplified and you said, no, this is beauty to me. This pillowy, wonderful, luscious bread is awesome. And I want to focus on it.
Yeah, that resonates a lot. I love that. I think, before COVID and all that stuff, like, I was in a dark place.
Yeah.
And I was, I woke up one day and I was like, how did I get so far away from my dream?
Oh, man.
And, it was just, I was in a complete opposite place of where I wanted to be. And I didn't believe that was how I was supposed to get there anymore. But maybe, for me, I thought about it in a positive way of like, maybe I had to push myself this far to recognize that I needed to take a step back and reflect and like really reevaluate what I want. And what I want is to be happy, and what I want is to make beautiful food, and what I want is to connect with people and make them happy. And I do that, fortunately, and I'm so grateful. I do that through making bread and giving bread to people, and I do it through my private dinners, and I'm happier than I've ever been in my professional life.
I feel that. I mean, first of all, I feel that just talking to you, and honestly, engaging and connecting with you is not only a great honor, but it's a great pleasure, because honestly, you're so easy to converse with, to hear, to listen, and so on. But like, I get it too from the makership, because like, we sent our oldest off to a friend's house tonight, and we had gotten a bunch of fucking pies from a band booster sale. So we sent a pie along, and I'm like, oh, hey, wait. And I tossed, and my bottles of hot sauce have the podcast logo on it and shit.
Oh,
and I'm like, dude, there you go. And like,
I love it.
I've sent this hot sauce now. Like, now I can honestly say I've been sending it for almost 2 years now. And
wow.
The recipe varies, but like, people get it. Like,
sure.
Steven Reichland from Project Smoke got a bottle from me.
Wow, cool.
I'm trying to think of who.
Good for you.
Justin Sutherland. He got it, and he's
fabulous.
Like losing his shit. Fast Foodies on is it True TV? I think it was. But anyway,
yeah. Uh-huh.
Him, Kristen, and Jeremy. But so anyway, just that act of giving, like.
Yes.
Yeah, man. It's first of all, cooking's a selfless act. I'm not going to sit here and preach like I know, but I've worked a few shifts, and when you see somebody like dig it and smile, that's big, man. That carries weight. That warms your soul.
It's everything.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing 14, 16-hour days. You're not in it for the relaxation, man. You're in it for something spiritual. So you're the happiest you've ever been. You're clearly a rock star. Let me talk food with you a little bit, because obviously, like, sure. We know we did the whole how she inspired. Look, folks, if you want to hear it, go back an episode, check it out. I'm not even gonna bug you with like greatest creation and greatest failure, because that's too like deep at this point. Who gives a shit? I want to hear from you, Sasha Grumman, who like is like the free agent of the culinary world. I love it. What's the next big thing in food? It works in trends, and I get it. And, sometimes it's, farm to table. Sometimes it's molecular. You probably more than most, because you're indie and you can focus in all directions, you got to have your finger on the pulse of trends. So what's coming? What should we be paying attention to and for?
I think the biggest thing right now is get to your local farmers markets. Go see the people that are making food there, that are actually making like ready to eat food at your market. The people selling hot sauces and selling jams and teas and all of that stuff, like, talk to them. Get to know their stories, because there are people that I did farmers markets for about 4 months this year, and the people I met there are making some of the best food I have had in Houston, hands down.
Were you doing you were doing your focaccia at the farmer's market?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I was doing focaccia and some other baked goods, and also like another wake up and like, hey, remember to focus on your dream.
Yeah, man.
But I would say get to your farmers markets, because that's where the next rock stars are growing.
Agreed.
1,000%, because they're already willing to take a chance on themselves and their business by putting themselves out there and starting a business on their own.
Yeah.
So those are, I'm not saying other people are not the same, but I'm saying this is where the hidden gems are of our industry. They're sitting in farmers markets, and they're working their tails off all week long to bring you the best food possible on a Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, whenever it is. And go chat with them, go talk to them, because these people are going to change the culinary world, because these people are also respectful of their workers. They are paying them appropriately. They are letting them be themselves. They are working in a positive environment. Like, I am so inspired. I could list 10 people right now that I'm so inspired by at the markets. And like,
that's awesome.
They're all, young. They're, my age, younger, and they're just taking risks and chances on themselves. And it's just so inspiring. I love them so much. And I would say the second thing would be start paying attention, like really paying attention to the farms around you. Go visit them, go see them, because, a lot of places say we're farm to table, X, Y, and Z, but like, ask them where their produce is from.
Exactly. The people are so hot on the wine list. There's a local place here in Bloomsburg, the Blind Pig, which is amazing. And they have, instead of a wine list, they have a farm list. Where all the shit comes from. And they have, this is the cool part, they have farmers meetings in there during service. And so sometimes, depending on when you get seated, like there'll be a table of 10 farmers sitting around. Yes. It is so dope. Like, and you just, so cool. You glean it and you listen to it. And again, Toby and Sarah have been on the show. They were part of the live event, the last one we did. Thanks, COVID. But just such a cool vibe. And the cool thing about farmers markets, I always think too, is that like a good amount of folks are like, this is their gig. This isn't their main hustle. So like you always put more passion into your gig than you do your main. And, that's not saying if anybody from work is listening, I love you just as much as I love the Coarse Grind. So don't. But
we probably laugh more here, right?
I think we might. So that's awesome. That whole farmers market centricity, if you will. Now I have to ask you, because with every positive, there's a negative. What trend in the industry are you ready to just watch die a flaming death? What do you want to see just go away and never come back?
Death.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, she's going to be mean. That laugh is like mean girl laugh. That's like, I don't want to say this, but...
Honestly, like, nothing really comes to mind. I would say... I don't know why people are decorating croissants now, but, like, I don't think we need to do that.
Decorated croissants? That's, okay.
I feel like every time I see it, it makes me, like, a little upset. And, like, no offense to all my friends out there that are, like, decorating croissants. I love you guys, and I'll fucking eat them. But
Yeah, of course.
Like, I just like a good croissant.
Like, like, why
like
mess it up?
It's kind of like my focaccia vibe. Like, why you gotta fuck up a good thing?
Exactly.
It's delicious.
Oh, yeah, totally. I related, a little bit is the whole toast culture. I'm like, oh, God, okay. Like, how many...
There's a place in San Francisco that charges like $12 for cinnamon and sugar toast, and you're like, the line is out the door.
Really? Because I'll tell you what.
Is this a thing?
No, it's cinnamon, it's sugar. Listen, we've already started the pumpkin bullshit. And I like to
I avoid that shit like a plague.
Oh, well, this is the season starts with putting honey on the rim and cinnamon sugar and then a pumpkin beer. And I'm running those all damn day. And
fucking do your thing, dog.
Yeah, it's well, not so much for me, for someone who's probably upstairs sleeping right now. So anyway, she loves the pumpkin beer. But decorated croissant, I would agree, comes across a little pretentious, as it were.
It's too much.
Yeah, too much. So with all that considered, here in the mains, let's what's the 5-year plan? Now we know November-ish. I think November is the time frame for Sasha's Focaccia, the reboot, the rebirth at thefiercechef.org. For those looking to find out the Fierce Chef everything. Or Sasha Grumman, it comes up just as easily, but thefiercechef.org, and check out, all the teasers, all the pictures, all the food porn. Take me forward into 2025. Like, what does that look like for Sasha? Now, knowing how happy you are now, identifying that, how do we propel that forward without burning you out?
Right. How do we maintain my happiness?
Yeah.
I think realizing that there will become, I hope, this is my hope and dream, that, it will become so big that I will not be able to do it myself, right?
Okay. Yep.
So what took me years and years and years to learn is that, no, I am not better off on my own, and no, I cannot do this all by myself. So in 2025, I hope that I have a thriving business with beautiful, wonderful employees that love to work with me, have equity in my company, that this is a giant ship moving forward, and that we are not only shipping nationwide, we are located in California, and we are shipping to supermarkets and specialty goods stores.
I love that. I will be in I'm going to be first in line when it drops to begin with.
When it drops?
Yeah. Like I'm going to be there. Put a focaccia in front of me. I'm done for. I'm done for. And given who you are and the values you espouse, I see no reason to even question that. So, all right, let's go to the afters. Again, I'm interested to see if your answers varied within less than a week.
Oh boy, probably.
Was it a week? I think it might have been a week. So here's awkward silence in the studio as I go over to get my. And I think I have it. Yes, I do. It's right here. The Eliminators.
I'm in a happier mood today, so maybe.
Oh, okay. So maybe it changes. Maybe that affects things.
Maybe it'll be different.
I can't be sure. Sasha Grumman, talk to me. If you and I were cooking together in either your kitchen or my kitchen, and you had control of the radio, what are we listening to?
We're listening to Charlie Crockett.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, am I supposed to guess like the same one?
No.
I'm just basing it off my mood today.
No, I love that. I love that because it's different but similar. I like that.
Yeah,
I feel that.
Yeah, Charlie Crockett. I'd probably go for maybe some Beyonce today. I'm kind of feeling like a little like fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe some Drake. Actually, I put Drake on a story today and it like hit.
There you go.
That's right.
It has to. It has to. It's so funny. The music, we're playing in the kitchen. Again, if my wife is in there, it's a little more 80s centric.
Okay.
But we can kind of get to some stuff. I got on a Veruca Salt Pandora Station hit today. I loved angry grunge chick music back in the day, man.
Oh,
that
weird.
was me.
Okay.
Because I had hair down to my shoulders, and it just made sense. I loved it. I loved it. Seether, Cannonball, all that shit. Like, I was there for it.
Do you have long hair now?
No, I have no hair now. Did I mention the 3 kids, Sasha? No, I do have hair. I'll have to actually.
It's all falling out.
Maybe at this point in the episode on the YouTube version, I'll embed the picture that I have readily available. God. But I was in a ska band in college, and
ska.
Yeah, dude, it's
Dude, that went off around our time. That was like,
I'm telling you,
everybody was doing it. Battle of the Bands, it was like ska this, ska that. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, it made sense and to put everybody in a good mood. And I have to tell you, I'll indulge again just for a second. I'm playing the ska mix because both of my older boys play brass, just like Dad. And this song comes on, and they're like, "Yeah, we love this. Who is it? Less than Jake? No, shut up. It's Real Big Fish." And they start listening. They're like, "Wait a minute, I don't recognize that." And it was, I got asked to do a favor back in the day to be on a demo track for a Moon Ska label demo CD. Remember those? You could go in and you get it for free.
Yeah.
Like they'd give you the free CD. So I'm on one of those somewhere in California. Me and this band, PDA, Public Display of Aggression, by the way, for those looking. So anywho, Drake, Charlie Crockett, Beyonce. You did answer Marvin Gaye last time.
Yeah.
So I like it. I like it, though. I think it all fits. I think it shows cohesion, if you will.
Yeah, they're a vibe.
Yeah, they are. They're a total vibe. Deserted island question. 3 foods or food-type items, unlimited supplies, only 3. What are you taking to the deserted island with you?
All right, I'm changing it because last time I was feeling fancy, and now
bougie.
I am feeling... Yeah, it was bougie. And I would take... You said meat and potatoes earlier, and I literally haven't gotten a ribeye stuck out of my brain.
Nice.
So
wow.
I have a ribeye, endless supply of ribeye, baked potato with all the toppings, and endless supply of sparkling water.
Love it. Damn.
Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty fucking bougie, too. Endless river.
What can I say?
I
don't
love
know.
it. Bougie is what bougie is, man.
Yeah, I know. God damn it. Can't help it.
So, one of the questions I didn't get to ask last time, and I'm so stoked to be able to ask all of you this, like in a more personal setting. Melanie Denea did a series of 2 coffee table books, My Last Supper and The Next Course. And she's a world-class photographer and framed the book around simple, 5 simple questions. And that's actually kind of how the format for the podcast got kicked off. It's like,
cool.
your ticket's getting punched tomorrow. What is your last meal today? So I ask you, Sasha, last meal, what are you eating? What are you drinking? Who's there? What music is playing?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Like last meal on this earth? Or
Yes,
just
ma'am.
like last meal on this earth? Can I bring people back from the dead?
You absolutely can. Yep. Mortality is not an issue here.
Amazing. Well, obviously, I'd have my immediate family. So
Yep.
I'd have my mom, my dad, who passed in 2013. So he's come back.
Nice.
And my sisters and my brother. They'll be there.
Nice.
And their kids.
Awesome.
And then, yeah, I think I'd keep it nice and tight family.
I love that.
And drinking wise, I mean, I don't drink anymore.
Gotcha.
But I would say for the rest of my fam, endless supply of Krug.
Nice.
Forever. Or that Billicart rosé, salmon rosé.
Nice.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
So they're drinking that. I'm drinking sparkling water, my fave. And then what are we eating? God, we're eating straight up Italian food.
Love it.
We are doing pasta, meatballs. We're doing, just a giant pasta hang, I think is exactly what I want. And mint stracciatella ice cream.
Oh my God. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I love it. Just literally just a bunch of people making a bunch of different types of pasta to order.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
we're
I
just
get
hanging
that.
out.
I feel that.
I think for the last meal, I think sometimes I feel I'm gonna course it out and I feel bougie that way, but right now I feel very family focused, and so I'm I just want to hang with my fam.
That's nice. That's real nice. I won't. Well, maybe I'll tell you off air what mine was. People people gasped. They're like, "Really, you're an asshole."
Oh no.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awful, but I do have a reason. Anyway, that's foreshadowing,
but if
kids.
you like it, you like it. You like what you like.
I know, but yeah.
Don't feel bad.
If folks want to go back, it was episode 20. Actually, it was reeled in 2015. So, and I haven't changed the answer since. I stuck to it.
That's
so.
it. That's
Anyhow,
it forever.
It is what it is.
Can you just tell me or what?
No, you know what? It's not so much what I'm eating or what I'm drinking or anything like that. It's who I'm with. And it's nobody.
Oh, fucking savage. I love it.
Right? Because here's my rationale.
Yes!
I've never changed it. I've said I don't want to bring anybody down. I came into this world.
Damn it, that's good.
I came into this world alone, and I'm going to leave it alone. And I'm resolute on that. And normally, I'll vacillate. I'll go back and forth. I'll be like, oh, maybe I want the brisket versus the skirt steak, blah, blah, blah.
Whatever.
I've never moved on that. I've never fucking moved on that. And it's crazy. And, the playlist.
No, I like it. I'm a lone wolf. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a fucking tight answer.
The playlist is Morrissey, The Smiths, The Cure, literally play me out. Make me want to go. Make me go. I'm good. I'm totally good.
Yes.
Totally good.
Best answer of the night, everybody.
No, negative. My new
No.
my new BFF Amiga Sasha had the best answer. But hey, one last question for you. It's the last one. It's the simplest one, and I have your answer. But I'm gonna bet you change. What's food to you in a single word? The silence. I love it. That's when I know I got them, and that's when either that or they're digging. They're like, shit. What did I say? That's
I remember what I said, and I stand by it. But
okay,
I think it's all dependent on your most recent experiences, and I think food is community.
Oh, I love that too. Yeah, your other one was hope. You know. I think both, man. I think it, you know, it gets back to, you know, you making it the family, your mom making it the sports event, you know, cooking. Like, it is all about putting it out there. And, you know, from that hope, to use your other answer, like,
yeah,
I don't know, man, but goddamn.
When you eat something good and it fills you up with, like, happiness, and I'm sure you've had that moment where you taste something and you just, like, sit back and you're like, that was the most delicious thing.
I've cried over meals.
Yes!
And actually, I've probably cried over more meals in, like, a small, low-key setting than, like, bougie, like, Morimoto or anything like that. You know, again, not to, like, shit on that. You know, Bouchon. Yes. You know, Bouchon. Thomas Keller's Bouchon. It was good. Didn't move me to tears. There was a tapas place that we ate in Sonoma, I think, and I had just no, fuck it. It was a deli in Lompoc, because my wife flew me out to California for my 40th, and we did the Sideways driving tour. You ever see the movie Sideways?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah,
I'm a hopeless romantic. Okay,
dude, we stayed at the Sideways Inn, but we went over to this deli, and it was a lengua Reuben. I'll never forget this. And I literally, like, my shoulders were shaking. I was crying so hard because it was so good. And I'm like, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to, like, feel when it touches. So, and
food does that, man.
I know, dude, you of course know it. And that community that you said, like, people from around are like, Jesus Christ, what is he having? Give me those.
Right.
And they start making a run on Lengua Reubens. And I'm like, that works. That works, man. But goddamn, Sasha Grumman. Absolute pleasure, honor. Thefiercechef.org. Obviously, you're out on the Insta, out on the Facebooks. Anywhere else they can find you? Anything else you got going on?
I'm out there on Cameo, so you can find me there.
Okay.
I don't tweet. And
you're not missing shit, by the way. All right.
yeah. I mean, like, I don't TikTok either. So basically, Insta or my website. That's where you can find me. Insta
or the website. Links available at the bottom. And again, nothing but forward motion. Sasha's Foccaccia back in November, and in 5 years, you're going to be finding that next to, like, friggin' Wonder Bread. It's going to be so goddamn popular and moving so fast. Like, it's going to be that.
Manifest. We got this.
You do have it. If ever I believe that statement, I believe it now. So, Sasha, thank you so much for joining us, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
Absolutely.
Such a blast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode number 176 of the Coarse Grind podcast. With me this evening, the illustrious, the energetic, the fierce, if I may, Sasha Grumman. Our producer, as always, has been the Reverend Johnny Lamoria, a.k.a. Johnny Leland Robinson. Be sure to check out all his libertarian steampunk happenings in the 18431. Next episode is going to be number 2 of the Fab Four. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Retour aux sources, enfin tout recommencer. Retour aux sources pour se régénérer. Retour aux sources, avance vers le passé. Retour aux sources, batterie rechargée. Retour aux sources, enfin tout recommencer.
Are you passing through central Pennsylvania and looking for one of the best dining experiences and craft brew menus around? Look no further. Turkey Hill Brewing Company and 991 Central Road in Bloomsburg, PA has everything you could ask for and then some. Service, food, beer together. Unbelievable. Be sure to check them out. Call them today for reservations. 570-387-8422. Call today.